Hi listeners, it's Kat here from Aghast. I just wanted to take a quick minute outside of the show to let you know about empowerment coaching. I know this is probably confusing a lot of people right now. Outside of telling you about true crime, I work as a life coach, helping others achieve their goals, break down barriers, eliminate limiting beliefs, or anything else a person may need guidance to achieve their most authentic life. The world has been upside down since 2020, and I know a lot of us may be lost, confused, or unsure as to what we want and how to get there. If you think speaking with a life coach may help you, please feel free to contact me at alteregowellness@outlook.com or at alteregowell on Instagram. Okay, now back to our show.
Howdy folks. Oh boy, this one's a long one, if in case you didn't see the runtime, but it's a good one. We haven't talked about a true serial killer, I don't think, in a while, so this should be pretty interesting. Just listen to what we got for you today, and you can understand how weird this is going to be. So today we got the gay village in Toronto, the Scottish Presbyterian Church, landscaping, and ligatures. If you're thinking he doesn't have a fucking joke for this one, you're right. I fucking don't. I tried to think of one. Yeah, I got nothing. None of those things go together in a meaningful way to make any joke. If you can think of a joke for that, please put it in the comments. I appreciate the help. No, today we are talking about the piece of shit serial killer, Bruce McArthur. Grab yourself a cold one, or a lukewarm one, depending on your refrigeration and how you like your booze. And let's get into this. I'm John. And I am Kat. Because she's not here, she's downstairs because it's too hot. And this is Castbox. Well, here we are again. Here we are.
With our sexy, raspy morning voices.
Morning voices. We just did a growing bananas.
Yeah, if you are looking for good at-home workouts on YouTube, check out Growing Ananas. She will kick your arse.
Yeah.
But you'll have fun doing it. She's very expressive, you know. And she doesn't talk. You don't get annoying talking. You just got to watch the screen. She shows you what's coming up and she plays good music.
I don't like encouragement.
No.
Not from the exercise.
No.
Not from a trainer. Not from my boss.
I'm a yoga teacher, for those who didn't know. And I can't stand when a yoga teacher, now to each their own, people like different things. So if you like it, I'm not shaming it. Just for me, I don't like when a teacher drones on and on and on. Just tell me what pose to get in. Tell me how many breaths we're staying in it for.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to think about the pigeons and the warmth of the air.
Yeah, I don't want to sing my heart to the sky and, anyways.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us our disclaimer?
Hey, folks. We're not a serious true crime podcast. We take the crime seriously, but we also do it with an air of levity. Because if we didn't, we would be ultra depressed. You can already tell what kind of thing this is. If this is not your cup of tea, then fuck right off. For the rest of you, let's get right pissed and get pissed drunk and get on with the goddamn show. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, John.
No problem, Kat.
Bruce McArthur was born Thomas Donald Bruce McArthur in Lindsay, Ontario on October 8th, 1951. Not too far from us. As a child, he grew up on a farm in Argyll, Ontario, which is near Kawartha Lakes.
Argyll. You just picture like how they do their fields.
It's like an Argyll pattern.
It's just diamonds overlapping on each other. Welcome to Argyll. Have you been to Plaid?
It's right next to Stripes, but we never mix them.
That's the French farmers, the stripes. Polka dots.
Yeah, polka dot door.
That's the German farmers.
His parents just had him and another daughter, but they were foster parents to troubled children from the Toronto area. It was not uncommon for them to have up to 6 to 10 children at a time. Bruce's mother was Irish Catholic, and his father was Scottish Presbyterian.
Oh, geez, Scottish Presbyterian, that's
and
intense.
Irish Catholic. That's
Wow.
quite the mix.
Yeah.
They were both very devout. Bruce would often side with his mother during their arguments. Bruce did believe that his father had an inclination about Bruce's homosexuality and that he may have had trouble accepting it. So,
Well, he is Scottish Presbyterian.
Yeah. Bruce attended a very, very small school in Woodville. It was a one-room schoolhouse. He was known for wanting to be the teacher's pet and would often tattle on students who were misbehaving. Bruce then attended Fenelon Falls Secondary School, where he met and started dating his future wife, Janice Campbell. They graduated in 1970, and despite Bruce believing he was gay, he and Janice married a few years later at the age of 23. Bruce became a buyer's assistant for Eaton's department store in downtown Toronto. Do you remember Eaton's?
Yeah, my mom shopped at Eaton's a lot.
So did my mom.
I remember like their flimsy clothing boxes.
Yeah.
And you'd unwrap it like on fucking
Christmas
Christmas Day. Like your grandmother gives it to you and you're like, oh.
As soon as you see the Eaton's label,
and
like,
you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking hate this. It's gonna be denim and itchy. And
corduroy.
Yeah, corduroy. And your fucking mother is like, now give your grandmother a hug and a kiss. And you're like, I hate you, Grandma. Why couldn't you give me Lego?
Oh, God. So just down the
Bitch.
Just down the street from the Eaton Center he worked at, a gay village was beginning to form on Yonge Street. Now, I didn't know this, but...
A gay village?
Yeah, but same-sex sexual behavior was decriminalized in 1969. So I had no idea it was that recent. Like, I would have thought it was, like, decriminalized way before that. So in Ontario, it wasn't decriminalized until 1969, which just seems like...
The summer of love.
In 1978, Bruce left Eaton's and became a traveling salesman for McGregor socks, and he would visit department stores asking them to carry those socks.
I like McGregor socks. I didn't realize that was such a history.
Bruce's father became ill and was diagnosed with a brain tumor and was sent to live in a nursing home. Bruce's mother quickly moved on after he went into the nursing home, and this disappointed Bruce, but it strengthened his relationship with his father. They grew much closer to each other during this time.
What do you mean move on?
She met someone else.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
In 1978, Bruce's mother passed of cancer, and his father passed 3 years later in 1981. Bruce and Janice eventually had 2 children. Their daughter Melanie was born in 81, and their son Todd was born in 1986. The couple purchased a home in Oshawa, and Bruce became very involved with his local church to try and avoid his homosexual feelings. However, in the early 90s, Bruce began having affairs with men. After about a year or so of having these affairs with multiple men, he came out to his wife. The pair continued to live together in the same home. Around 1993, Bruce's career in clothing ended, and he and his wife began having financial problems. A lot of their financial problems came from their teen son's legal issues, and he had a habit of making obscene phone calls to random women, which I can't remember if I covered at the end of this episode. He's still doing.
Really?
He's in his 40s.
He's still making obscene phone calls.
Yeah, he's still getting in trouble for it.
It was just like breathing heavy on the other end. Oh my God,
gross.
What a fucking loser.
Bruce and his wife remortgaged their home, declared bankruptcy, and then filed for separation. Bruce moved to Toronto in 1997 and would frequent bars within the gay village. He found an apartment in Don Mills and began a relationship with a man that lasted 4 years. Around the time of their breakup, Bruce's divorce was also being finalized, so he was having a tough time. He began seeing a psychiatrist and was prescribed Prozac and started a job in landscaping.
That's how most people get over like their divorce
and breakups.
They move to a gay village, they get a psychiatrist, they get on Prozac, and they do landscaping.
Totally. On October 31st of 2001, around 12 p.m., a now 50-year-old Bruce was heading over to the home of actor and model Mark Henderson after he invited Bruce to see his Halloween costume. When inside, Bruce struck Mark in the head repeatedly with an iron pipe that he was known for carrying on him.
Whoa, like just
Yeah.
Just like, thanks for inviting me in. Oh,
Crack.
would you like tea? Bam!
Yeah. Mark did put up a fight before losing consciousness. I don't even think they made it into the apartment, though. I think as soon as they got within the doors of the apartment, he like the apartment building, not his actual apartment, he struck him with the
Jesus.
pipe.
It seems like so out of left field all of a sudden now.
Yeah. So again, yeah, Mark did put up a fight before losing consciousness. When he woke up, he immediately called 911. He was rushed to St. Michael's Hospital, where he suffered injuries to his head, needing several stitches, as well as 6 weeks of physiotherapy. Wow. Surprisingly, Bruce turned himself in for this attack. He stated that he didn't remember why he did it. He pleaded guilty to all charges, which included assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm. In April of 2003, he received a conditional sentence of 729 days, meaning he would spend his first year on house arrest, 6 months of curfew, and then 3 years of probation. He was banned from the Church and Wellesley area unless for medical or work. So the Church and Wellesley area is where the gay village is located.
Oh, okay.
Which I wonder if it's still, I'm sure it's still very much like that. They believed Bruce to be low risk and that the reason for his attack may have been the combination of his anti-seizure medication and amyl nitrate, which is a muscle relaxant.
A muscle relaxant made him attack someone with a
Yeah.
fucking pipe. Oh, I feel really good. Like, I feel like, oh, like, even my stature is like, oh,
My
fuck you!
posture. Yeah. That scared me. The victim was left traumatized, but he did not make a victim impact statement. Bruce was also barred from hiring male prostitutes. I feel like you are just always barred. Anyone is barred from hiring prostitutes. Sex workers.
Are they not? Like,
That's what I would think. But so barring someone, like, is sex work not illegal to begin with?
I think it's
Regulated now, like legalized?
Oh, like, I remember driving through Cambridge, Ontario, and, like, near like, the fucking Ainsley Street Terminal.
Yes.
And seeing, like, like, on houses.
Oh, okay.
Advertising fucking,
Sex work.
happy ending massage.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You know? And I thought, like, Jesus, they're advertising that? Is it not illegal? Like,
Yeah.
you're inviting, I guess it's not illegal.
Yeah. In 2002, Bruce registered on Recon, which is a fetish dating site for men who like BDSM. In his profile, he noted that he liked submissive men. He was also active on other dating sites such as Growler, Squirt, Daddy Hunt, Scruff, Beer Forest, Bear Forest.
Beer Forest would have been way better. Someone start a dating site called Beer Forest, and it's just for like connoisseurs of like craft beers. Just a bunch of assholes with goatees
Drinking IPA.
Yeah, who wear like those fucking like flat hats.
You were wearing one yesterday.
I was not. No, like the fucking like the hat that Thomas Shelby wears.
Yeah. Bear Forest, Bear 411, Grinder, my favorite, Man Jam, and Silver Daddies.
I put Man Jam on my French toast. I think we've talked about Growler and Grinder before.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, those are, I'm sure, the most popular ones. Bruce was very active in the gay community and would frequent the gay bars. By 2011, he was working as a self-employed landscaper under the name Artistic Designs. He had built a client base of mainly elderly women who found him charming. A colleague of Bruce's who had installed water features at some of Bruce's projects stated that Bruce was more of a gardener who used old tools and operated out of a small van.
A small van?
Yeah.
So like a fucking Aerostar.
He always had an older white man with him who was believed to be his boyfriend or lover, and then would often have random day laborers that were Asian or Middle Eastern.
Jesus, what is this?
In 2012, the Toronto police launched Project Houston, a task force to assist in the disappearance of Skandara Skanda Navaratnam.
Yeah.
By June of 2013, Project Houston identified 2 additional missing persons who were similar in geography and lifestyle as Skandara. Both men were middle-aged immigrants of South Asian origin. They both also disappeared from the Church and Wellesley area. The missing men were Abdul Basir, Faizi, and Majid Hamid K on.
We apologize. We don't know.
Deepest apologies.
The internet would not tell us how to pronounce these.
An anonymous tip came through linking Bruce to Skanda and Hamid, so the police interviewed him on November 11th, 2013. Bruce admitted that he knew Skanda from the gay bars, but that was it, and that he had a sexual relationship with Hamid, but had broken it off. The Project Houston Task Force did not link Bruce to these disappearances as they had no evidence. I feel like it's a pretty big coincidence, though, that he interacted with both of them.
I love the name of the task force, though.
Yeah,
Project Houston Task Force.
In Toronto. On June 26, 2017, Andrew Kinsman disappeared from Cabbagetown.
It just smells like fart the moment you rolled in.
A day after... Okay. On June 26, 2017, Andrew Kinsman disappeared from Cabbagetown a day after Toronto Pride. He was last seen on Winchester Street. On June 28th, after learning that he hasn't been seen for 2 days, his friends gained access into his apartment. There was no sign of disturbance with the exception that his 17-year-old cat was left without food or water. His friends reported Andrew missing. Andrew was very well known in the gay community. He had deep roots with it and was known for being very stable and would not leave suddenly and definitely not without his cat. Friends and family also said that he would never leave without telling anyone. He was also very active on social media, but his phone was off on the day of his disappearance. By July 2017, Toronto police started a new task force called Project Prism to look into the previous disappearance.
I thought for a second you were going to be like, Project Dallas Task Force. We got belt buckles on this task force.
Project Prism is this one. To look into the previous disappearances, as well as another recent man who went missing, Selim Ezin. Greg Downer, a friend of missing Andrew Kinsman, started a group called the Missing Rainbow Community. It provided strategies for staying safe when meeting people off dating apps. Greg Downer also appealed to dating apps to provide the option to users to have their data released to police if they went missing. The communities surrounding Church and Wellesley grew fearful that a serial killer was on the loose when the body of a transgendered woman, Alora Wells, was found, though police believe this circumstance was not related to the other missing people. I just want to say, amazing friend, this Greg Downer, for starting this project of this Missing Rainbow Community, for providing those strategies for people meeting on dating apps and to appeal to the dating app. I would certainly permit my data to be released because as we'll see more and more as we cover these cases, they just don't hand this over and time is of the essence. So we all know the first 48 is the most crucial time when a person goes missing, the first 48 hours. And you got to get that activity. If your friends or spouse or parents don't have access to your passwords or anything, then it requires a warrant to get this stuff released. So I think that is a great thing for users to have that option. While investigating Andrew Kinsman's disappearance, police saw Bruce's name on Andrew's calendar. On June 26th, Bruce was written in the calendar box. When looking at surveillance for that day, it showed a red vehicle approaching, as well as a person matching Bruce's appearance. Though they could not get a clear picture of the license plate, they were able to see a Dodge Caravan in chrome letters on the side of the van. At that time, there were 6,000 similar models in Toronto, but there were only 6 registered under the name Bruce, one being a Bruce McArthur.
Oh, man.
Surveillance footage did confirm Bruce had a van like that at his residence. However, he no longer owned it. Police continued to investigate Bruce, putting surveillance on him throughout August and September, as well as obtaining warrants to review his data and tracking warrants for his vehicle and phone. Way to go, Toronto police.
Yeah, no kidding.
By October, they found enough circumstantial evidence that suggested Bruce is linked to Andrew Kinsman's disappearance, as well as the 5 other men. Investigators were able to track down where Bruce sold his van. It was the owner of Dom's Auto Parts in Cortis, Ontario. The owner confirmed that he purchased the car on September 16th. It was still intact. Police took possession of it and towed it away. They were also able to confirm Bruce at Dom's Auto Parts September 16th on the garage's surveillance. While searching the car, trace amounts of blood was found and tested. It was Andrew Kinsman's and Selim Esnan's. With the tracking surveillance they were doing on Bruce, investigators were able to build a timeline the day Andrew Kinsman went missing. On December 4th, a warrant was obtained for Bruce's apartment. Investigators entered covertly and cloned his computers and hard drives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore.
That's like Sopranos style.
I didn't know they do stuff like that.
And especially in Toronto. In January of 2018, they found post-mortem photos of Andrew Kinsman and Selim Esnan in Bruce's deleted files. On January 18th, 2018, Bruce was arrested while alone with a young Middle Eastern man in a Thorncliffe Park apartment. The man was handcuffed to Bruce's bed with a black bag wrapped around his head. Bruce was attempting to tape the bag around the man's head, but police were able to intervene before anything could happen.
Oh my god, that sounds like a fucking movie.
I know.
Like, I'm just getting like visions of Seven. Like,
yeah.
Going on. Holy shit.
The man was obviously very shaken up, but he was unharmed. Bruce and this man met through the dating app Growler. Evidence found in Bruce's apartment led to him being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the presumed deaths of Selim Esnan and Andrew Kinsman. Despite not having their bodies, police were pretty certain the evidence confirmed they were no longer alive. A source later told CTV News that gruesome photos were found on Bruce's computer of the victims that were likely kept as trophies. On January 18th, police began executing search warrants on properties that Bruce landscaped for. 4 properties in Toronto and a 9-acre property in Madoc, Ontario. Homeowners were barred from their properties while these searches took place. On January 19th, while using cadaver dogs for their searches, they started expressing a strong interest in some large planter boxes at a residence on Leaside in Toronto. The boxes were frozen to the ground, so heaters were used to thaw them for transport. On January 22nd, the boxes arrived at the coroner's office. On January 29th, police announced that they had found skeletal remains of at least 3 different people in 2 of the 12 planter boxes from the residence on Leaside. Police charged Bruce McArthur with 3 additional first-degree murder charges for the presumed deaths of Dean Lizowick, a homeless man that wasn't reported missing, Saroush Mahmoudi, a subject from Project Houston, and Majid Kayan.
Holy fuck, this is crazy.
I know. Experts and professors were concerned that Bruce was a sophisticated serial killer who had mastered his craft. They were also concerned about his time as a traveling salesman and that his murders could go back decades.
Oh shit, no kidding.
On February 8th, police confirmed that 3 more people were found in more planter boxes from the Leaside residence. Out of the 6 remains found so far, 1 of them was confirmed to be Andrew Kinsman, who was identified through his fingerprints. An extensive search took place at the Leaside residence. Plumbing lines were searched, heaters were used to thaw the property for excavation, and police had set up a post there. Finally, on January 11th, the home was released back to the owners. Investigators then spent nearly 4 months searching Bruce's apartment where they believed the crimes took place. Hundreds of hours and manpower was spent. They took more than 18,000 photos and collected over 1,800 items. The search at Bruce's and at the Leaside residence is the largest forensic investigation that has ever been conducted by the Toronto Police. Police turned to the public to help identify a man they believed to be one of Bruce's victims. They had used all of their resources and options trying to ID him, so they are hoping the public could help. After releasing the photo, over 500 tips came in. While police were looking into these tips, a 7th set of remains were found in a Leaside planter box. 8 sets of remains in total were recovered from the Leaside residence. The 8th body was finally identified by an undisclosed service.
Wow. Holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah, like imagine hiring this person as a landscaper and he's just disposing his bodies at your residence.
That's nuts.
Police continue to exhaust themselves with this investigation, not leaving any stone unturned. They combed through hundreds of cold cases and missing persons reports, going back over a decade to see if there was any links to their whereabouts and Bruce McArthur. They continued to search other properties and planter boxes, but nothing outside of the Leaside residence was found. Between July 4th and 13th, they excavated a forested ravine behind Lee's side and collected human remains each day of that search.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So that was from July 4th and July 13th, a set of remains each day.
So nine more bodies.
On July 20th, it was announced that they found the remains of Majid Kayan. We mentioned before they presumed Kayan was dead and had already given that murder charge to Bruce. Now his remains have been found to prove he was no longer alive. Now all of Bruce's victims found so far have been identified. Waterloo Regional Police reached out to Ontario's Serial Predator Crime Investigations Coordinator to look into the possible involvement of a November 2002 disappearance of David McDermott from downtown Kitchener. They also believe he could have been involved in the murder of John Riley, who went to Toronto to find landscaping work and was planning to stay at a shelter on Church and Wellesley. He disappeared in May of 2013. Bruce's known victims were Abdul Bazir Faizi, Majid Hamid Kayan, Skandaraj Skanda Navaratnam, Sarush Mahmoodi, Andrew Kinsman, Salim Essen, Dean Lesowick, Karushna Kumar Kanagaratnam. 5 of his victims were new to Canada or refugees. There was a gag order in place, so what was released to the media was very limited. However, it was released that all murders were premeditated and 6 of them were sexual in nature. 5 included confinement. Bruce kept many trophies like jewelry and a notebook. 4 of the victims' DNA was found in Bruce's van. Bruce also had hundreds of post-mortem digital photos of his victims. They were recovered forensically as he tried deleting them. These photos were staged. He had photos of them nude with fur coats on or hats. Some had their beards or heads shaved, which he kept in Ziploc bags.
Oh, what the fuck is this shit?
He also posed the bodies with ropes around their necks. He used sex to lure some of his victims and then would strangle them with a ligature. A garrote was recovered in Bruce's van and was shown around a victim's neck in one of the photos.
God.
For anyone who may not know what a garrote is, it's an apparatus used to strangle someone. So typically wood or a metal bar wrapped around the ligatures. For example, a wire, and then the garrote is used to tighten the ligature without having to use much of your own personal strength or pressure. So the garrote does most of the work.
Yeah.
Bruce McArthur faced his sentencing on February 8th, 2019. He received life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The judge pointed out that Bruce showed no remorse and was pure evil.
Oh, no kidding. Holy fuck.
Bruce McArthur can apply for his first parole at 91 years old. However, being overweight and having type 2 diabetes, he's likely serving a life sentence in prison.
No kidding. Fuck.
During
Fat fucking piece of shit.
During an interview with CTV News, Karen Fraser, the owner of the Leaside residence, spoke about the horrific discoveries on her property. When asked if she had plans of moving because of what was found on her property, she said, quote, "The last thing we would allow is that person to drive us out," end quote. A cleansing ceremony took place to bless and renew the home.
Holy cow. So that's the fat piece of shit?
Yeah, so that's Bruce. Kudos to the police.
Yeah, that was a thorough investigation.
From day
Holy
one.
Cow. And those are the victims,
Yes.
eh? Jeez.
Yeah. From day one, this is the survivor that got hit by the pipe. Is he not like the coolest person you've ever laid eyes on?
Wow.
We will definitely.
I want to know what he does for a living.
Oh,
man, he is the coolest.
Just being fabulous. That's all he does. And that's all he needs to be doing.
No kidding.
Like,
Holy
he
shit.
is a gorgeous man with a killer beard.
Oh, and I love the white eyeliner.
Yeah,
No, he would say it's probably silver or
yeah.
something.
Gosh, he is awesome.
Yeah, he looks really cool.
But yeah, kudos to the police from day one, starting with Project Houston, Project Prism. Like, we have covered many cases where the police just botch missing, and I'm not hating on police. I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying, like, maybe the effort looking into these missing people is not really executed. And I feel like from day one, we're going to start a task force for 2 missing people.
Yeah.
Like, you never hear that.
No, you don't.
Like, I think just from day one, they were on it. And, like, covertly entering the apartment and cloning his hard drives.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
crazy.
Like, just so cool. Like the coolest, I shouldn't say cool. This is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know, and just they nailed it out of the park with this investigation.
Oh man, it was like a season of The Wire just listening to this. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that fat piece of garbage is in prison and is going to die there. That's
and
good.
So recent, like.
Yeah, the fact that this was very recent.
He wasn't sentenced until 2019,
Yeah.
so. And, like, thank gosh that happened in 2019, because if that happened in February of 2020, he'd still be awaiting his sentencing probably because of COVID, everything being pushed back. So I'm glad he got his sentence and is in there now.
So how many victims is that in total?
His known victims, I do believe they think there's many more, but these are the remains that were found, so there's 8 in total.
So 8 shots for the victims.
And finish your drink for the survivor.
Yeah. And then have a shot for the police for putting this piece of shit where he belongs. He deserves death, but he'll have it in prison. And I'm sure he'll be tortured in there with any luck. Piece of garbage.
Yeah, it's quite the story. That one, I think that was one of our longest 7 pages.
I don't remember hearing about it at all. Like, this is
I remember
a
hearing
significant serial killer, and you don't hear about it.
No, I heard about it. It was all over.
You had your ear to the grindstone. You knew.
It was all over the news.
Well, I don't watch fucking CTV news.
It was global.
Same shit.
Well, I'm just saying it was out there, so.
All right, let's see what Dylan McDermott has to say about all this. Time to listen to the beautiful words of Sir Dylan McDermott. Put this over here. I mean, I always think when you're an actor, you have to be the guy running into the burning building rather than running out of it if you want to make some noise as an actor.
Wow.
Imagine some dumbass prick from like fucking Ohio or something with dreams of being like a star in Hollywood. Took that literally. He just like has a fucking like a police banner radio and just like drives
to fires
and just runs in making noise. He's like, I'm gonna be the next Bruce Willis.
I am hot. I gotta get out of this room.
All right, thanks folks for sticking through this. Hopefully this will be under the 40-minute mark, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, with John, you never know.
It
really only was like a 10-minute episode, but because John never shuts up.
No.
All right, have a good week, everyone.
Take care. Bye now. Ta-ta.
You can check us out on YouTube at Catam Concoction.
That's CATAM CONCOCTION.
And on Instagram at cast_Aghast.
Remember, there's a silent H.
Department stores to carry.
I like McGregor socks.
I made an error, so I have to start over. So anyways, Bruce moved to Toronto in 1997 and would frequent bars with the gay. Bruce moved in. Blah, blah, blah. Bruce.
Try again. A Ford Aerostar. Mm-hmm. Lime green.
Probably.
Jesus, did you hear that fucking swallow? Shit, the fucking window shook.
By June of 2013, Project Houston identified 2 additional missing persons who were similar in geography and lifestyle. On June... Don't touch me.
You take it.
By July 20... I'm just seeing Dylan McDermott's face waiting patiently for his...
Like, when's it my turn? What the fuck are you doing here?
Of a November 2022 disappearance... Sorry. Excuse me.
God, holy cow, you piggish woman.